All right, so what's even better than walking with me? Sitting in the carpool line at my kid's school. I got about 15 minutes before the oldest gets out, and so I guess I'll take this time to answer a question from my good friend Bunkmaster B, who says, "Is the love for YouTube still there? And has the grind affected your love for comics at all?" Um, Interestingly enough, and it's funny because obviously my schedule's gotten a lot busier in the last 8 months or so. um, Life has happened around YouTube a lot, and it certainly does kind of make you question, like, okay, well, what is the place for you? What's the proper place for YouTube? Where should this be in my list of priorities with everything else going on a daily basis? Um, but interestingly enough, like, the love is absolutely still there for YouTube. In fact, I would say YouTube is probably, of course, outside of my family, it's probably the thing that I love doing the most. And I think that's just kind of because of how I'm wired as a person, as a creative person. For me, YouTube is like the best outlet for my specific brand of creativity. Like, I'm someone who likes to sort of dabble in a lot of things. Like, you know, YouTube is great, like, for, like, people who are into video. Like, I love video. I love cinematography. Like, I love setting up shots and stuff, but not to the point where I would want to, like, go to film school and make like some masterpiece and be the next Scorsese, right? I love audio, working with audio, but not to the point where I want to be like a full-time music producer. um, and so on. I like Photoshop, but I don't want to be a graphic designer for someone. But I do like, putting together thumbnails and, different graphics and stuff like that. And so all of those different aspects of what YouTube has to offer kind of really play into my specific brand of creativity, which is to be creative in a number of ways all at the same time. Um, but on top of YouTube kind of speaking to my creativity, there's also the community building aspect, and that is my favorite part of YouTube, is building community, talking or finding like-minded people, no matter where they are in the world, the country, whatever. um, and creating like experiences for us to sort of gather around, right? So I consider myself to be a member of the comic book community, like the community of people online who like comics. But I am very much cognizant of the fact that I am building the comics are dope community. The dope fiends, or whatever they'd like to be called. I know there's a subset of like the world, right? A subset of the comic book audience that is also online, that also watches YouTube. There's a small portion of them who specifically like to rally around content that I create and stuff like that. And um, I enjoy the community building aspect, right? Like, if someone jokingly calls themselves a dope fiend because, my brand is comics are dope, then, being able to kind of play into that and make them a dope fiend shirt. And, we meet up at a con, whether it's like 5 of us or 500 of us, right? Wearing dope fiend shirts. And like, now that's a moment in time because of, whatever creativity I had in a moment in time. And I like that. I like that a lot. Um, so, like, ideally, YouTube would be the only thing I had to do pretty much ever. Um, but because, I'm an adult and adults need money to live, no one else is footing the bill. There are definitely times where it's like, okay, being my being the best YouTuber I can be definitely conflicts with being the best man or the best husband or best father or whatever adult responsibility there is. Like, there are times where this doesn't fit in the plan for a particular day or moment or weekend or whatever. Um, but I still love it. I still love YouTube. I just don't have as much time as I used to have for YouTube. Um, Specifically when we talk about the relationship between time and money and how each are valuable. One is invaluable, but both are extremely valuable. So yeah, that's sort of the existential question that Bunk decided to ask. Um, Now, how does the daily grind of YouTube affected my love of comics? Um, for me, my love of comics isn't as deep without YouTube because of that community that I talked about before. Um, so many books that I have read, I would not have read if not for the recommendations of the community. Comic book creators that I know and text and have relationships with, and people that I can ask for insights and get this cool peek behind the scenes and stuff like that. Like, there's so much about the comic book medium that I wouldn't have known had I not had the community. And YouTube is the only reason I know that community exists. And so my love of comics is deeper than ever. It's really all the other adult responsibilities that kind of take away from the time I can spend engaging with comics in a healthy way without, depriving other adult areas, right? I can't like read comics all the time and not raise my kids and not pick up my kids from school and not eat dinner with my family. Like, all of those things, those things are important. And I just realized, now that we're talking about adult things, I'm late for a 2 o'clock meeting that I was supposed to dial in on Zoom. So talk to you guys soon.